Hi, this is a video interview we have with one of the permanent members of Face of Justice Ministries, a nonprofit group here in Costa Rica. We have Angie, and this paper is for one of a course here at ULACIT, Management of Nonprofit Organizations. It's part of a research paper that I'm doing here. And I'm happy to have Angie here today, who's helping me out. She's so wonderful to take her time, take a moment of her time to help us out, and enlighten us, and actually tell us more about her experience, and more about the nonprofit organization here in Costa Rica. And hi, Angie.
Hello, my name is Angie. Should I just go into it? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You can introduce yourself to the class. By all means, let us know your experience. Let us know what are your degrees if you're studying. If you let us know how you got into the nonprofit organization called Face of Justice Ministry. Go ahead.
My name is Angie. I'm from Pennsylvania, and I have a degree in communications. And about two and a half years ago, I graduated from college, and I was just looking for what I was going to do next. I knew I wanted to be involved in missions in the nonprofit world, but I didn't know what that looked like. So I went to a seminar in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, and it was there that I found out about human trafficking and the work that was being done all over the world. And it was also there that I found out about Face of Justice. But I went back to the States and was looking for an organization to work with. Didn't really consider Face of Justice because it was in Costa Rica and I didn't speak Spanish. And I wanted to go back to Europe and it just wasn't in my plan. But about 6 months later, I actually came to Costa Rica to visit a friend, and I met with the director of Face of Justice. I did ministry a couple of times, just kind of fell in love with what was happening here and the work that was being done. So I decided to come back full time, and I moved to Costa Rica about a year ago, and I've been working full time with Face of Justice since then. I plan to stay for a few more years.
And just for the listening audience, what year did you start with Face of Justice?
I started in 2016, the fall of 2016.
Okay, so practically a year or two?
About a year ago.
Okay, very good. And we have to ask, when you came here, you said that there was I would assume that there was a language barrier?
Yes.
Yeah? And how's your Spanish? And this is the question, how's it now?
Mucho mejor.
Mucho mejor,
Mucho
okay.
mejor.
Just like
Yeah.
I am as well. Mucho mejor. Okay, very good. So you're educated, you have a degree. I can say that you're well traveled. And so, meaning that you're used to being out of your comfort zone. So coming to Costa Rica, how was it, how do you compare it to all of the other places that you've been to?
The language barrier was definitely one of the biggest challenges in the beginning, because the people in the streets don't speak English generally. Even when I was in Amsterdam, pretty much everyone there speaks English. But also the work that I was doing was completely different than anything I'd done before. So it was very relational focused, very people focused. It was just about going and talking to people and beginning a friendship and becoming someone in their lives that could support them, someone that they would trust, and that was very different than anything I'd done before. So that was way out of my comfort zone.
Way out.
The fact that it's Spanish, way outside of my comfort zone.
So it's normal to be out of your comfort zone while working in a nonprofit.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. And one of the things that we tell people is just walking up to someone on the streets is not necessarily a normal experience. But we just say, like, jump into the pool of awkwardness with us. We tell our new people, just embrace the awkwardness and put yourself out there and make a fool of yourself and have people laugh at your Spanish and just dive in, because it's really the only way.
Yeah, people tend to accept you into their circle when they feel that you don't belittle them.
Yeah.
And you touched something, you were talking about your organization. Can you describe to us in the general aspect of the organization where it actually originated, the mission, the vision, if you can, touch bases on those?
Yeah, so Face of Justice is a nonprofit that focuses on people that have been or that are being trafficked or sexually exploited in some way. So it began about 4 years ago. Our director and her family moved to Costa Rica 8 years ago and began to do ministry and began to see the problem of prostitution in San Jose. And our director was exposed to a lot of things that were going on the streets in Del Rey, which is one of the brothels here in the red zone. And so out of that and out of different ministry experiences that she had, she began Face of Justice about 4 years ago.
And can you let us know who's the director?
Yes, the director is Elizabeth Gilroy.
Thank you.
Yeah. The vision of Face of Justice is to see the end of sexual exploitation in Costa Rica. And we want to do that in 3 ways. We want to do that by providing prevention, so we want to step in before anything happens. So we want to provide training to people. We want to work in community development. We want to work in empowering women in poverty to have another way of making money. We do that by intervention, so that's stepping into areas where there's already exploitation happening and kind of working to end that. So that's talking to people on the streets that are being prostituted and helping them come out of that. That's working with women in the red zone and giving them different options of work. And then we also want to do that through restoration. So that's taking victims of sexual exploitation and then walking them through what it looks like to go from a victim to a survivor and to someone that's just living freely and not in that experience anymore. So we have a safe house for girls that have been trafficked between the ages of 13 and 17. And it's basically a transitional house, so they're generally there for about a year or so. And we provide them with psychological care and education and support and basically a place of safety. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, just a place of safety to sort of begin their healing.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question. We would like to know, how do you actually survive as a nonprofit, the financial strategy that you're using to accomplish your mission?
Yeah, so we operate on a couple of different means. We have a lot of donors in the States. We have a lot of churches that send teams down to stay at Face of Justice for a week and kind of see what we do and participate in what we do. And then those churches support us financially. Casa Libertad is partially funded by Pawnee. So the government gives us money for about half of our expenses. We're accredited by
The
Pawnee.
Costa Rican government gives you money?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Just for Casa Libertad, so just the safe house.
Oh, just for the safe house?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the safe house is accredited by Pawnee. All of our girls would come to us through the system, so we're not going out on the streets and picking up a random girl and bringing her in. We're getting them through the government system.
But are you allowed to go out and rescue?
We see underage girls on the streets all of the time, and it's generally not a good idea to have them get in the van and come with us. As much as we want to do that, just because someone could see what we're doing.
Is it against the law to do it?
It's, yes.
Considered, yeah?
I believe so. I can't.
Okay. So you can actually get yourself in problems rescuing somebody, even though they're underage. It should go through the organization or the social service here first. PANI.
Absolutely. So the correct procedure with that would be to call Bonnie and say, like, this girl, I know that she's underage, I know that she's being trafficked, and then Bonnie would pick her up, figure out where the family is and where all of that comes into play, possibly terminate the parental rights, and then she would be in the custody of the state. And at that point, then the state or the government gets to decide where she goes. And so we're an option for that, but we're not the only option, and we can't take certain girls, so we can't take anybody that's currently addicted to drugs. Most of our girls have been addicted in the past, but we're not a drug rehab facility.
Okay.
So we don't walk anybody through withdrawal. So if they're addicted to drugs, currently they have to go to a drug rehab before they can come to us.
Before they can come to you. So, okay, it's not, if they're too far gone, it's basically, you cannot step in. Only if they want to be saved.
Yeah, I mean, we've had conversations with girls where who will be on the streets, and she's 13, and she's telling us her story. She's prostituted, and she is pregnant, and she's addicted to drugs. And what we can do is we can get her in our car, and we can drive her to Pawnee. We don't want to drive her to our safe house, but we can drive her to Pawnee, and we can help her that way. We've never had a girl get in the car with us because there's so many other factors going on. She's scared of her pimp, she's ashamed, she's confused, she's not making good decisions. So what we then do is just call Pawnee and inform them that, or call Oihope and inform them that there's a girl, and then hopefully they go and pick her up.
And through your experience, have you found the streets, are they more filled with girls or guys as well, going through the same ordeal, being in the prostitution ring? Which number or which gender is higher from your experience?
Yeah, it depends on the part of the city. So if you drive around San Jose at night, so just downtown, kind of Parque Morazan and places like that, you're going to see a lot of trans. So there's a lot of adults. I'd say about probably 95% are transgender or transsexual. And then there's one spot where there's a lot of guys. It's called we call it the Guys Park. It's Parque Nacional. And there's a lot of underage guys. Not all of them are underage. But then if you go to the red zone, which is an area in Barrio Mexico, if you go to the red zone, then it's 98% women. And of those women, I would say about 10% are underage. And you can go there during the day. You can go as early as 7 a.m. and they're out working on the streets. And then if you would go into a brothel, so any of the brothels in the red zone, or Del Rey, which is right in the center of San Jose, it's a really big, well-known hotel that's really just a brothel. Those places would be all women, and we know for sure that there's a lot of underage prostitution that goes on in Del Rey. And I believe from the few times that I've been inside the brothels in the red zone, I think there's probably about 15% underage in those brothels. So.
And have you felt that the local authority has it been supporting you? And let's say that you put in a report. Do you get do you feel that there's a quick response time from the local authority if you put a report against the underage prostitution rings that you've come across?
It depends. Generally not. So we've learned the hard way that you have to have contacts in the government, and you have to call those very specific people that you have a relationship with and that you know aren't corrupt if you want anything to get done. So I think in April, there was an underage girl in the red zone. We talked to her for about an hour, tried to get her to come with us, and then we called the police, and they did nothing, and she was still there a week later. And what our director has figured out also, and she's really good at forming relationships with people in the government, is that if you just call whatever number you have for Oihota or someone like that, that there's only about a 20% chance that anything will be done. There's a lot of corruption in the government, there's a lot of bribing, there's just not a lot of motivation on their part to do anything about the underage girls or about trafficking. But if you know people in Oihota, or you know people in the government that you know are interested in it, and you reach out to them and you kind of know the right names and the right numbers, and you can get something done.
Yeah, I'm guessing that Costa Rica is a really small country, so you can get who you know. That's interesting though. I would like you to describe for us a typical day or typical week in the organization. How is it, like from Monday to Friday, or is it non-stop? Is it Monday to Sunday? Can you tell us?
Yeah, this is not a typical day. So our safe house obviously is 24/7. The girls are living there. There's always stuff going on. So we have 3 professionals that are there Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and then a woman that's there every night, Monday to Friday. But then the weekends, it's divided up between the other full-time staff, between different volunteers. So there's pretty much always something going on. Our safe house is at our ministry center. It's in the basement. So in that aspect, there's always something going on, always activities, always people, very busy place. As far as like the intervention side of things, sorry, we're out on the streets Tuesdays and Fridays, and then we are in the red zone Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning. Other than that, our schedule is pretty much meetings. Our director has a lot of different things going with the government, so we'll sometimes be helping her with that, or someone will have to go translate or something like that. So there's always people in and out. Basically it runs all the time.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And what's the number on the staffing? How many persons do you have at this moment?
Yeah. For Casa Libertad, which is sort of its own organization within the organization, it kind of, it's a little bit separate within Face of Justice. I think there's about 7. There's 7 full-time staff.
And they're local or international?
They're all locals, yeah.
Locals,
So we've
okay.
got 2 teachers, psychologist, a social worker, an occupational therapist, a chef.
Fully employed
Full-time.
or volunteers?
They're all paid.
They're all
Yeah.
paid? Okay.
4 of them are full-time and 3 of them are part-time.
So you're actually providing employment to the locals?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the other side of things, the intervention ministries, so the things that happen on the streets, the red zone, all of the other little details of the ministry, we have 5 of us. 4 of us are from the States, and then we also have a Tico working for us right now.
Nice.
And lots and lots of volunteers.
I read, I'm doing the research, and I read that you have a lawyer. He's actually helping you out with the legal aspect of the business. And I read that you actually have a lot of programs. There's the lipstick or lip gloss, is it?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Can you give us some hint on how that program works, and any other that you feel is making an impact on the society?
Yeah, so the lipstick project started about 2 years ago when our director became aware of all of the brothels that were open in the red zone and what was going on there. So what they did is they would go into the brothels with a bag of lipstick and they would hand them out to the girls. And on the tube of lipstick was a little label that said, if you are being forced into sex acts, or you feel like you're being exploited, or you're being pinned down, this is a number that you can call, and this is a number that you can text, and it was a hotline number. And so they would hand these to the girls, and then they would always take one that didn't have a label in case the brothel owner came up and they could show him and be like, oh, we're just giving lipstick away, it's harmless, and he would let it go. But then when they would give it to the women, it would have a label on it. So they did that for about a year. Since we've been working in the red zone consistently, we haven't done it as much, just because since now we spend so much time there, we have a building and we're known there, we don't want the brothel owners to figure out that we're interested in getting the women out of trafficking. So
Right.
in the red zone, we're very general. When we tell people what we're doing, we just say we're here to help the women. So we're there to get the women out of prostitution, but we want to be really careful about how we talk about that. But we still do the lipstick project a couple times a year. We usually take it when we do trainings and give it to people so that they have something to give. If they ever see someone that they think is being trafficked, it's good to have one in your bag and pull it out, and it's just a harmless little tube of lipstick. It's pretty fun.
Awesome. I'd like to know, are you as an organization in the 21st century, are you using technology in any way to help you, I would say, for lack of a better word, survive, or help you through maybe translation in Costa Rica, English to Spanish, or in any aspect? How is technology playing a part for you?
We actually haven't really gotten into that whole side of things, and I know that there's a lot of trafficking that goes on in the web, and I know that there are some tools out there to help that. We generally work face-to-face, and we generally work with people on the ground. We have used technology to make databases and store information. We of course use it for all the normal things that an organization uses it for. But no, that's definitely an area that we should explore more.
Okay.
Tapping into the online sex trade. Yeah.
Nice. And how would you rate your organization, like on a scale of 1 to 10, from what you've experienced from the leadership point of view? What number would you give it?
To be honest, Face of Justice has a lot of flaws, and we're super disorganized a lot of the time, and things just, don't always run very smoothly. We kind of joke about that a lot, but honestly, taking a step back and looking what FOJ has accomplished in the past few years, and looking at what our director has accomplished, being a gringa who doesn't speak Spanish, who is just kind of come and started this and trusted that God has a plan for it. I'm biased, but I'd give us an 8.
You get okay. That's fair. I think that's fair. You know, pioneering. Yeah, I think that's fair. I've got a question that's so curious. So the director, Elizabeth, she actually started the company here, or was it is it the United States that she started it first, or was it created here?
All created here.
All created. So it's an actual Tico
Yeah,
brand.
it's accredited here. It's an association. It's a Costa Rican association. It doesn't exist in the United States.
Yeah, I was doing the research and I couldn't find any information in the United States. So I was curious to where did it originated, and I'm happy to know it's actually an organization here. Yeah, we should know more about this. This is why the research papers is out. Yeah, I've got a few more questions if you don't mind. Okay, on the ethical aspect of any organization, how would you respond to if you found out that your organization is involved in fraud or any unethical behavior? What are your views on any, let's not just use your organization, let's just use any organization that transmit that they're here to do good, but underneath they're actually not doing what they're supposed to do. How would you respond to any organization like that?
Well, I know that I would report it instantly. I think that there's been a lot of organizations a lot of gringos, unfortunately, but a lot of people that have come to Costa Rica and started organizations. I know of one personally that just kind of exploded about 2 months ago. They come and they want to start an organization, and they're all like passionate about this, and they last about a year, and then there's some misconduct, there's something unethical, there's some abuse of some kind, and then they just are shut down or they leave. This happened multiple times, and so I think it's really important for those of us that are in the nonprofit world that we're super careful, and we're super aware of the fact that we're representing not just our nonprofit, but we're representing kind of all nonprofits, and for FOJ we're representing Christian organizations too. And so I think it's extremely important that we're ethical in the way that we treat people and in the way that we use our money, in the way that we handle sensitive information about everyone that we know on the streets and our girls. Yeah, I don't think you could overemphasize how careful we have to be in a lot of those areas.
So you have to be ethical and no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. I love that that eye there of yours. And we're just going to go to the last question. And I just want you to describe. I know there's a lot of you can describe. It can be either a good experience or a bad experience. It's your choice. But I would like you to describe to us one of the most impelling stories that you've ever had or ever told, a true story, so that we can be inspired, or so that we can be aware of how it actually, the reality of a nonprofit at the end of the day.
So just like a story from someone on the streets?
Yeah, whatever, it's your choice. It's ladies'
I
choice.
have to think about that. I think the most impactful stories for me have been the women in the red zone. They're kind of the bottom tier, if you will, of prostitution. They're in their 40s or 50s. They've been doing this for years. They've gone kind of through the cycle of being in Delray, making a lot of money, being young, and then going to like more seedy brothels, making less money, to just being on the street. And I guess the one that just jumps out of my mind recently is a woman that came in, and we've known her for a couple of months, but she came into our building in the red zone on Thursday and just sat down and wept for about 30 minutes. and was just telling me her entire life story. I'm not going to tell it all now, but basically the way that she's been completely abandoned by her family, completely abandoned by her children, and there's got to be a reason behind that, but completely abandoned by everyone in her life. And how she had to sell her phone that day because she had no money to buy food, and was just kind of recounting this desperation and this poverty that I don't think I can even grasp, that I've never experienced anything close to that. And there was another woman also that came in about a week ago, and she's been on the streets for about 40 years. She's been there basically her entire life since she was 13. But she has a client that is now her boyfriend, and he is going to provide for her, and he said he's going to get her an apartment attached to his house, and she can live there, and she can be like a maid or something. And the reason that she has to be a maid if she lives there is so that no one knows that they have a romantic relationship because he's engaged. And so she was telling me about her Christmas plans, and she was saying that she gets to spend the 23rd and the 26th with him, but the 24th and the 25th he has to spend with his fiance. And then she said, and yes, for New Year's I get to spend the 30th with him and the 2nd, but the 31st and the 1st he has to spend with his fiance. And just her resignation to the fact that she's going to be second place, and her resignation to the fact that this is just what she has to accept, and she's not worth more, and that she's just, that she's just settling for something like this was really, really difficult to see. I can imagine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that wraps it up, everybody. Thank you, Angie. She was a wonderful interview. And we hope to hear more from Face of Justice Ministries. And I'm hoping that you guys grow. And I feel that you guys are really doing, you're making a difference here, an impact, believe it or not. And thank you once again.